Come have a seat in the Skald circle and hear the tale of Fairy Friends, as told by Mynogan. Before we begin our tale, did you know that we release new stories for free every week on Wednesdays? Be certain to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Spotify, Podbean, or whatever your favourite podcast app is. That way, you'll never miss out when we release free bonus stories other days of the week. Never forget, visit thescaldcircle.com to stay up to date with all of our current happenings, and to also visit our story archive, sorted by origin and region. Now then, this begins the tale of Fairy Friends. It is a good thing to befriend the fairies, as the following stories show. There have been from time immemorial at Hawick. During the 2 or 3 last weeks of the year, markets once a week for the disposal of sheep for slaughter, at which the greater number of people, both in the middle and poorer classes of life, have been accustomed to providing themselves with their marts. A poor man from Jedburgh who was on his way to Hawick for the purpose of attending one of these markets, as he was passing over that side of the Robberslaw, which is nearest the Tivat, was suddenly alarmed by a frightful and unaccountable noise. The sound, as he supposed, proceeded from an immense number of female voices. But no objects whence it could come from were visible. Amidst howling and wailing were mixed shouts of mirth and jollity. But he could not gather nothing articulate except for the following words. "Oh, there's a bairn born, but there's nothing to put on it." The occasion of this elvish concert, it seemed, was the birth of a fairy child, at which the fairies, with the exception of 2 or 3 who were decomposed, at having nothing to cover the little innocent with, were enjoying themselves with the joviality usually characteristic of such an event. The astonished rustic, finding himself amongst a host of invisible beings, in a wild moorland place, and far away from any human assistance, should assistance be required, full of the greatest consternation, immediately on hearing this expression again and again, stripped off his plaid and threw it on the ground. It was instantly snatched up by an invisible hand, and the wailings immediately ceased. But the shouts of mirth were continued with increased vigour. Being of opinion that what he had done had satisfied his invisible friends, he lost no time in making off, and proceeded on his road to Hawick. Musing on his singular adventure, he purchased a sheep, which turned out a remarkably good bargain, and returned to Jedburgh. He had no cause to regret his generosity in bestowing his plaid on the fairies, for every day afterwards his wealth multiplied, and he continued till the day of his death a rich and prosperous man. About the beginning of harvest, there having been a want for meal for shearers' bread in the farmhouse of Bedrule, a small quantity of barley, being all that was yet ripe, was cut down and converted into meal. Miss Buckham, the farmer's wife, rose early in the morning to bake the bread, and while she was engaged in baking, a little woman in green costume came in and, with much politeness, asked for a loan of a cupful of meal. Miss Buckham thought it prudent to comply with her request. In a short time afterwards, the woman in green returned with an equal quantity of meal, which Miss Buckham put into the meal-lark. This meal had such a lasting quality that from it alone the good wife of Bedrule baked as much bread as served her own family and the reapers through the harvest, and when the harvest was over, it was not yet exhausted. And that is the tale of Fairy Friends. Thank you for listening to our story. If you enjoyed it, please take a look at our Patreon page to learn how you can earn great rewards while also supporting us. We appreciate even the smallest of contributions, as they allow us to release new stories every week for free on Wednesdays, and also provide to you bonus stories for your listening pleasure. Visit us at thescaldcircle.com to view our story archive, sorted by origin and region, and to stay up to date with all of our developments. Once again, thank you for listening to our story.